In this video, I'll show you how to scrape tweets from Twitter using keywords in just a few simple steps. This can be extremely useful if you want to monitor what people are saying about your product or competitor, track trending topics, or collect public opinions for research. Developers often use this type of data for sentiment analysis, market research, lead generation, or building dashboards that track social media activity in real time. So without a long introduction, let's start by creating ScrapeBadger account. You can sign up using Google, GitHub, or simply your email. Also worth mentioning, every new account receives 1,000 free credits, which is more than enough to test the API and see if it fits your project. Once you're inside the dashboard, the first thing we need to do is create an API key. Just click here and press Create Key. Give the key a name. I'll call mine Keyword Test. Perfect. Now we are ready to move to the Twitter Scraper section. Select the API key we just created, and then we need to choose the endpoint we want to use. In this example, we'll use the Advanced Search endpoint, which allows us to scrape tweets based on keywords. Here we can enter a search query, similar to how Twitter search works. For example, we can search for tweets mentioning Twitter scraping. So we simply type Twitter scraping into the query field, just don't forget to add commas. Then we need to select the query type. We can choose from 3 options. Top returns the most popular tweets. Latest gives you the most recent tweets, and media returns only tweets that contain media attachments. For this example, we will use latest. The count parameter allows us to return between 1 and 100 tweets per request. Let's add 20 here for now. We'll leave the cursor empty, we will get back to it later, and now just press Send Request, and let's get the data. And here we go. The API returns the results as JSON data. Each object represents a tweet and includes information such as the tweet ID, the text, creation time, and the most important, our keyword. If we want to collect more results, we can use the cursor parameter. The cursor works like a bookmark for pagination. The API returns a cursor pointing to the next set of results. If we copy that cursor, paste it into the cursor field, and run the request again, the API will return the next batch of tweets starting exactly where the previous request ended. Alright, now that we have our data, let's talk how you can integrate ScrapeBadger into your own system. And there are 2 main ways to do it. The first option is calling the API directly, just like we did here using a simple HTTP request. In this case, your application sends a request to the API endpoint with your API key, and the service returns the results as structured JSON data that you can process in your code. The second option is using one of our SDKs. SDKs wrap the API so you can easily integrate it into applications written in languages like Python or JavaScript. Behind the scenes, it still communicates with the same API endpoint. You can read more about that in our docs. I will leave the link in the description. I hope that was useful. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I'll be happy to help. Also, I'd like to invite you to join our Discord community, where you can chat with other scraping enthusiasts, share ideas, and ask questions. Good luck with your projects.